3 miles shy of the Arkansas border. This is the neighborhood 13-year-old Shannon Capers calls home. On March 8, 1997, she picks her way through the streets and heads into town. 6 hours later, her family starts to worry. By dusk, worry ripens into panic, and the Capers family puts a call into police.
They get a call of a missing 13-year-old juvenile. The local police call me as a juvenile detective, which is normal procedure.
Detective Ben Booth takes the report on Shannon and begins to look around. Capers attended the local junior high and had a lot of friends. None of them, however, have any idea where she might be.
After 3 days, we went to the local news media, ran her picture, photograph on local news media. I also entered her name into NCIC, which is the National Database for Police Officers, Crime Information Center.
By spring of 1999, Shannon Capers has been gone 2 years. The investigation into her disappearance undeniably cold. On May 5th, Detective Chris Smith is working at his desk when the phone rings. At the other end, a voice with a story about a body.
She actually said the case, the girl's name, Shannon Capers, and said that she knew where she was.
The caller says the body is buried in the woods, behind the apartments where Capers lived. The tipster also fingers the man who allegedly put Capers in the ground, a local drug dealer named Maurice Tate.
I tried to ask her, can you give me a number I can get back in touch with you? How do you know this? Where is this going? She hung up.
Later that day, a team forms up along the tree line behind Capers' apartment complex and begins searching more than 10 acres of forest and field. By day's end, the team has come up with nothing, and the search is abandoned. 2 days later, Chris Smith's phone rings again. His tipster is back on the line, telling him they didn't look hard enough.
The second call, I felt at the time that she knew what she was talking about. It wasn't just, I think there's a body out here. It was, look, y'all went out there, y'all didn't find it, it's there, you need to go back.
The caller directs the team deeper into the woods.
Everything was intact.
This time, original investigator Ben Booth joins the search. As the day wears on, however, still no body.
The chief smoked a cigar, and he discarded the cigar, got rid of it, and it landed right by the skull. The chief looks at me, and I look at him, and he says, "You see what I see?"
The human skull is partially concealed, lying in a bit of scrub less than a yard outside the team's search grid.
We raked a little bit of leaves away, and we could tell that there was what appeared to be a bullet hole in the skull itself.
The bones are transported back to the state forensics lab, where DNA confirms what detectives already suspect. The remains are those of Shannon Capers, and her disappearance has officially become a homicide. Although the trail is 2 years cold, detectives have a single hot lead in the form of an anonymous voice on the phone who knew where the body was, and further claims to know the killer.
We began putting our heads together trying to brainstorm who would know that this guy that she reported killed this girl. Who would know that?
Detectives shuffle through Tate's romantic past, looking for old girlfriends, especially those who might have a reason to talk. At the local hospital, they happen upon the medical records of a woman who claimed Tate gave her a black eye and an assortment of bruises. The patient's name, Sharnice McKnight.
We subpoenaed the records from the hospital, got a good address on Sharnice McKnight in San Antonio, Texas.
Cold case detectives book a plane for Texas and a meeting with the woman they suspect might be their anonymous voice.
They beat on the door. They came to the door, you know. It was the Louisiana police and Texas police.
She said, well, okay, what do you want to ask us? And she wasn't volunteering information at that point, but she knew why we were there.
Detectives sit down with McKnight and press her about Tate. It's not long before the 20-year-old begins to worry.
I'm kind of knowing, okay, dang, you know, I'm gonna go to jail because I told where it was.
Several minutes into the interview, she did confess that she had made the anonymous phone call, and she also told us that Maurice Tate is the one who had told her years earlier, when Shannon Capers first came up missing, that he had killed her.
As cold case detectives suspected, McKnight is a woman scorned. She tells detectives she and Tate share a child, and that Tate beat her, and often. Beatings that cost Tate his girlfriend's silence.
He broke my nose and he did me real bad, so I went home and decided, okay, now is a better time than no time.
McKnight tells detectives Tate had gotten Shannon Capers pregnant, a fact that did not sit well with Tate, and apparently enough reason to kill the 13-year-old. McKnight then provides the details.
He took her to the back. He said he choked her, he shot her, and he put her in the hole that he dug.
McKnight's story fits with physical evidence found at the crime scene, including the bullet hole drilled through Capers' skull. Detectives, however, need more than an informant's word to make their case for murder. They will have to do it the old-fashioned way, face-to-face, inside a police interrogation room.
First of all, did you know Shannon Capers?
We used to mess around.
You just went places together?
No, we never go play this. She used to come over my house. Just, you know, have sex. That's about it.
Tate admits he met Capers on the day she disappeared, on a back road, not far from the woods where Capers' body was found.
He's not a rookie. He knows what's going on, and he's staying as far away as he possibly can from being named as the one who killed Shannon Capers. You did go into those woods with her.
Oh, y'all see me go in the woods with her.
And you did kill her.
Y'all see me go in the woods with her. That what y'all saying?
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
I can't be at two places at one time.
In two places at one time. Detectives press Tate as to what he means by that, and Tate constructs an alibi centered around his bathtub.
I can't be taking a bath and on the back road at the same time. That's impossible.
Okay, so at the time she was murdered, you were taking a bath?
There is at least one problem with Maurice Tate's alibi. Police don't know the exact moment of Capers' death.
There's only one person who knew when she was killed, and that's the person who killed her.
Tate's misstep is the closest cold case detectives will get to a confession. Coupled with Sharnice McKnight's testimony, Maurice Tate is arrested and sits in the Claiborne Parish Detention Center awaiting trial on a single charge of murder. After 4 days of testimony, the case goes to a jury. Less than 30 minutes later, they return a verdict: murder in the second degree. Maurice Tate receives a mandatory life sentence for killing a 13-year-old he was afraid might be bearing his child.
This family went for 2 years wondering where their daughter was. And in 1999, they learned where their daughter was and what happened to their daughter. They went for 2 more years wondering who did this. The murderer was convicted, and they were finally able to bury their daughter.